Welcome back guys to the second part of the Breakout video. Today I'm going to make it more chaotic with some powers and much more, and let's get started. So the first thing I did was some, you could say, balance changes. For example, now all blocks have 100 times the HP and the ball does 100 times the damage, because before it was always rounded up and very unprecise, and now it's more precise and it's much more appealing looking. In addition to that, the speed block also got a change, because before I thought he was too strong, and which is why I changed the amount of health it has from, it would be 200, but now it's only 150 base. With the scaling it's now 178 on level 3. And also what I changed was the one-shot block, because before the brackets didn't really matter, because he always got one shot since the ball does 1 damage no matter how fast he was, so it just wasn't needed to put the brackets in. And now it's without it, and even though it says it was 1 HP, it gives more to the score, because all other blocks scale, and if this one always does only 1, it would be very bad, and so this one scales also with the level, the amount of score. All in all, there are now 8 infinite levels, which you can see here. And I also did some minor bug fixing, because the game had some bugs I was able to fix, like that the explosion would speed up the ball. The next thing I added was the powers. Currently they just fall from the sky at the beginning, and instead the player will get larger. And yes, as you guys can see, these power-ups look like that and make the player 50% bigger at the beginning, but if it reaches a value that's high enough, it slows down so that the player can't get too big. And yeah, that's the first power. The next thing I added was the power-ups are that the player gets smaller. So now only the ones that the player gets smaller spawn. There's this one with the player and the arrows that point inwards. And it's a counterpart of the one before. So at the beginning it gets 50% smaller. And after it reaches a threshold, it gets not that smaller. And yeah, if you are unlucky and you only get this power up, you have to play like that, which isn't very good. As you guys can see, the next power isn't the player anymore, it's about the ball. And it has this arrows pointing outward, which, as you guys were able to see, make the ball bigger. And like before, if the ball reaches a threshold, it stops getting as big as fast. And yeah, this is good for the player because it's easier to catch the ball. And yeah, so let's make the next power. So this power is the counterpart of the before, and it's this time with the arrows pointing inward, which, as you guys were able to see, makes the ball smaller. This is good, but also bad at the same time, because it's way harder to see and hit the ball. But because he's so tiny, he can slip through these little cracks, and on some levels this can be very good, because he can just get to the other side or destroy the balls from inside. This power isn't as interesting as the other ones, but it still was necessary to put in, and this one just speeds up the ball. And like the tiny one, it's a double-sided sword, because on the one side it makes that it does more damage, and that's really good. But on the other side, it's really hard to hit the ball when he's so fast. This is the last and also probably my favorite power. And its symbol is this ball with the 2 arrows that goes into 2 other balls. And what it does is, if you pick it up, your ball splits in 2. So that's really OP, because if one of them gets out, your balls on the bottom left don't get less, because they only get less if you spawn a ball and not if you lose one. So if you lose both, so all on screen, then you will lose one. Okay guys, as you can see, these power-ups before don't spawn in the beginning anymore, because now they have a 10% chance to spawn when a block breaks. So if I speed up now, there should in some time, yes. So now this should make it smaller, and yes, it did that. And now these spawn randomly. Now comes my favorite part of the video, and you can see it already on the screen. They are customizable, not really customizable, but pickable characters you can choose from now. So if you press 1, it's just a normal player, but if you press 2, you can already read it, it's a double trouble. So if I pick it now, this new mini player appears who can help you with colliding with the ball. And I like him very much because I often use him so that the bigger one protects the left side and the smaller one protects the right side, and it's really nice, I think. The next character is the Speedy Fella, and one sad thing I have to announce is that if I press 3 now, the character gets smaller, but the design doesn't change, and that's not really a problem, but the plan was that every player has a different design, but the iPad of my little brother doesn't work anymore, and there he makes all this drawing, like the blocks and the background and the ball, and that doesn't work since 1 or 2 days, which is why all of the players have the same design now, even though they have different powers and different names. But it's just a visual problem, so it's not that problematic. So let's go into what the Speedy Fella does. So as you were able to see, he got smaller, but if I press 3 now, you are also able to notice that he gets faster. But the main thing of this player is that his damage scaling is better than the normal one. So if they have the same speed, the Speedy Fella has more damage because he scales more with the speed he is on currently, which is OP because the blocks scale in HP very fast, and so you have infinite scaling on the damage, which is really nice, and it's also not that bad scaling. The next special player is done, and if I press 4 now, you will see he gets a little bit bigger, but he also gets a little bit slower. But that's only a side thing. The main thing of this character is that, unlike the Speedy Fella, who has scaling damage, he has a lot of base damage. So if I press play again, the normal one has 100 base damage, but the strongest has 200, so double the damage at the start, which is very decent, since you two-shot the yellow ones at the beginning, who usually take 3 shots, and at the double HP block it's even more OP because they only take 3 shots now, and without the strongest it's 6. So it's double the amount, which is really OP in the early game. but he kinda falls off in the later stages where the Speedy Fella will rise in strength. So my personal opinion is that the Speedy Fella is a little bit better than him. Now comes my favorite, but sadly also the last of the special players. So if I press 5 now, you can see his name is the Duplicator. The player doesn't change in speed or size, but only gets a special ability, which is that on 7 hits, so if the ball collides with the player 7 times, another ball will appear, and this scales with how many balls are on the stage. So if there are 10 times more balls on the stage, would take 10 times more collisions. And also it scales with how many balls have existed in your game, so that if 1 billion balls have existed in your game, which shouldn't be possible, there will be a lot more hits needed, even if only 1 ball is on the screen. And he's very good because there's an exploit that I found with him, and I won't tell it to you guys because I want to be the one with the highest high score. But if you find it, you can get a very high score. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. You can play the game in the Discord, there's a link, or also in the description there's a link. And comment down below if you think I've upgraded the game and what is your favorite edition. So see you the next time.